We welcome you, Bishop, among others. My name is Joanne Ntongo, the Pilgrim's Guide of Munyonyo Matters Shrine. And as a Pilgrim's Guide, I do guiding for every person who makes it to the shrine, who makes it to this place. Show them the places that matter. Show them what Munyonyo is and what it isn't. The Munyonyo Matters Shrine is where the journey of the matters exactly began from, that ended in Namugongo. Many start from Namugongo and end up in Munyonyo. Or many of us do not even know that it all started in Munyonyo. But at least I can say from the time I became the guide, I've come to realize people are now knowing it more and more, that the whole journey began exactly here. That before, if Munyonyo wasn't, then Namugongo wouldn't have also been. So this was the palace of the king, where he would come to do co-curricular activities. The activities he used to love doing. In your personal time, what you love doing. So these are the things he used to come here to do, like fishing, hunting, because this is where the waters are found. That is what he used to come to do in this particular place. But by the time he came in this place, the palace at his had met some problems. So he came around here. And this is where all the matters we talk about today, their journey began here. This is where that decision was made. So while we are here in Munyonyo, number one, we shall know it's where the journey began from. Then while we are here, we shall also realize we commemorate two matters. Number one being Dennis Sebugwao, number two being Andrea Kagwa. Then still we shall find that it's the place which has the tomb of one of the martyrs. Other places, we probably have more of relics, you get. So we have the tomb, which is not in many other places. But it's not a tomb that has the full body of Andrew Kagwa. It has the remains after him being eaten by the birds amidst others. So the other thing you will find here, or the other thing you should know about Munyonyo, is you will find the tree which is called the Moafu tree, which is over 138 years. And on that tree, it's where the journey exactly began from. The other thing you will find in Munyonyo is the baptismal font. Because before the journey would begin, the martyrs, some of them were baptized, those who hadn't yet been baptized by their fathers. So that is some other thing you will find. Then another thing you will find in Munyonyo, or the other thing you can tell people about, it's where we know Mother Kevin, where she arrived from in 1903 to begin her missionary work here in Uganda. Then the other we shall find is Our Lady of Sorrows, now commonly known as Mother Mary of Kibeho. But Our Lady of Sorrows is attached to the story of martyrdom, because she is the one who had ever passed through that sorrow. But most importantly, the latest that many are coming for, that many are seeing, is one in this Jubilee year. Some of the things we must meet is Jesus in adoration, in order to make our Jubilee year successful. Spend some time before Jesus in adoration. And in Munyonyo Matters Shrine, we have a chapel that is open for all for perpetual adoration, 24/7. For anyone, at whatever time you come, we have that chapel. And it's called the Divine Mercy Chapel. So now we can get back to that was a fast forward of what you can meet in this place. Now getting back to the story and how everything is run. It comes from being a basilica, or a place that people are commonly visiting now, being given the name basilica because it stands for history of martyrdom. And that is where the name basilica comes from. It is given to some place or an area that is above other churches, but because of some history. Now, particularly Munyonyo Matters Shrine, Uganda Matters Basilica, it's because of the Uganda Matters. And it's a minor basilica. And we have 3 of them. But the main ones that are known are the 2, Namugongo and Munyonyo. Some people keep saying that Namugongo is the major basilica. But it isn't. It's also a minor basilica. The major basilicas are all found in Rome. Then also, I've been meeting pilgrims who come here and they are looking for the door of hope. But we do not have it, because this is literally a site. All those doors are in Rome. Yeah? So here, I was told by my leader, the parish priest, that this is a site. So when people make a pilgrimage here, they have already received the different indulgences if they are in a state of grace. But many want to go through that door, but it's not. It is a site. So coming through, this is a site that has been chosen as a site where one can come to receive the different indulgences as a pilgrim of hope. And why? Because it has the history that that is above other places. This is where the journey of the martyrs began from, and the journey beginning from here, it all came from the king being told about so many stories that there is someone coming to take over your kingdom. And there was a lot of chaos. But originally, the first people who met the kingdom were the Arabs. Now, the Arabs came through, the king started mingling with them, but above all, they started even doing trade, where he would give them ivory and they would give him the nice things. But above all, they had other vices, like polygamy, which they came and also introduced in the kingdom. Then also Protestants came, but later on, my main focus are the Catholics, who came through and now started teaching the catechism classes that left many souls turned, who we commemorate today as the Uganda martyrs. So the Uganda martyrs decided to take the faith and say, no, us we shall die for our religion as the next people where people should see from. They said no to the vices. They said no to what other people were telling them about, that no, we should worship these gods. No, we should do this. They are like, we have been told that there is only one God. So they started doing things different from the many. Number one, like Sunday, you have to keep it as a day of prayer, of worship. And now the king is telling them, let's do this. And they're like, in my catechism classes, I'm told to do. So they started being more rebellious to the king. And yet, moreover, before, he was the one who was doing all other things. He was the best. He was their king. He was their everything. And now they were saying what we normally say today as Indabyetada. That is what was happening now in the kingdom. So that brought problems in the kingdom. And now later on, all this being put to place, being sold to slavery amidst other things, it all ends up that now the king, one, he was too convinced. The Catholics were too good that they convinced the king. By the time he started saying, I believe the only religion I now understand is the Catholic religion. Because for them, they were doing the teaching. They weren't only facing these other bits of, I'll sell to you this, you give me this. They started doing the catechism classes and people were changing. Now the king accepting that, but later on, the Our Father prayer that brings in, let thy kingdom come. Now they were feeling there is another kingdom coming in the kingdom. A lot of problems started happening. So later on, the martyrs are killed for this. And the martyrs we commemorate here, Dennis Sevogwao, number one, who was speared by exactly Kabaka Mwanga. Because at that time when he was coming back to the kingdom, that is when they were telling him the enemy is coming to take over your kingdom. And the enemy is coming from the side where Dennis came from. So with all that anger, he has lost his gun. He hasn't gotten anything through fishing. All, the misfortunes when they befall you on a particular day. That was the same day for Dennis Sevogwao. So he was speared at, but he did not die on that day, the 25th of May, 1886. He died on the same day with the second martyr we commemorate in Munyonyo, Andrew Kagwa, who died on the 26th of May, 1886. But how did Andrew Kagwa meet his martyrdom? Number one, because of the next in line of the king, who is the Katikiro. Now the Katikiro, because Andrew Kagwa had been sold in the Uganda kingdom as a slave, he was liked among the many, liked by the king, liked by the fellows, liked by everyone. He used to bridge the gap between the Europeans and the locals. He was very good. Now that became a problem. And now the king loved him so much to the extent that he even went ahead to make him the head of all the drumists and the instrumentalists in the kingdom. He went ahead to give him land, where he married his wife Sarah and they started living. That's around Natete. So the king loved him so much, he gave him all this. But when the king told him to go and study more of the drumming, when he met his friend Toli, when he went to Toli, where he used to do the drumming classes from. Now, Toli was a Muslim, and also Andrew Kagwa was originally a what? A Muslim. Now, in this moment, that is when he meets also Toli, who now Toli had started meeting the fathers. On meeting the fathers who are teaching him catechism, now also Andrew Kagwa starts buying into the catechism classes. Are we seeing that? So he learned so much and he learned it so fast. Now by the time the friend they had taken him with to go and learn the drumming lessons, for him he was done and he was back in the kingdom. When he came back in the kingdom, he started teaching more of the catechism classes. Him and Joseph Badi Kudembe. They started teaching very many people. They became almost the head of the different teachers of the catechism classes. But the king loved him so much, he had already given him all those bits. From being a royal servant, he became so good at so many things that the king loved him and gave him so much power. But when giving him so much power, it also brought in a lot of problems. The Katikilo started feeling so bad about him. Now, his martyrdom is met by the Katikilo himself. The Katikilo started, who is the chancellor, started sending threatening letters to the king, telling him, all the chiefsmen have been put into captivity, but how come Andrew Kagwa is still being left there? Sent the first letter to the king asking for Andrew Kagwa. The king did not pay attention. Sent the second one, sent the third one. And on the third one, the king allowed to hand over Andrew Kagwa. On handing over Andrew Kagwa, he went ahead to be taken to the chambers of the Katikilo. And while he was there, by the time they came to pick him, he was like, I'm ready, I'm here, please take me. And he had already even put away his family, waiting for them to take him because he was doing the classes. Now, on taking him to the chambers of the Katikilo, he started pretending like he hadn't sent for him. But Andrew Kagwa was like, you have sent for me. Yes, I'm one of them, and I am here ready for you. So the Katikilo was like, before I eat anything, I want your arm served on a plate. And when you look up there, it's exactly demonstrated how Andrew Kagwa was killed with no arm, because one, it was asked by the Katikilo. He asked for the arm. So they cut it off and took it to him. But I like the faith he upheld, where they were telling, they were trying to pretend like they were refusing to cut off the arm. And Andrew Kagwa was like, here is my arm. Katikilo has said, without you cutting it off, he's not going to do anything. He's not going to eat any meal. He wants my arm. So please take it. Is it easy to do some things of late? Eh? Like they cut your body parts and you're seeing. That is like really a problem. But he told them, please cut it off and take it. So they took it. Later on, he was beheaded and cut into pieces. Now, cutting him into pieces and left for the vultures to eat, and that evening the journey began to Namugongo. That is how the friends collect these remains and put them in the soil and start putting a cross. And now they were tested and seen that they were exactly the remains of Andrew Kagwa, and they're the ones in the tomb that is down there. When we go beyond this place, either in the clockwise or anti-clockwise direction, we shall meet the tomb of Andrew Kagwa. So when this place was given to the Franciscan fathers, the first thing they found was this particular altar put here. Not the altar, this place. Because down there was the tomb of Andrew Kagwa. So the first prayers in this place were all being held in this shed. Eh? All the prayers before everything else was built. This place was a forest. So this is where prayers were being handled from. It was the first altar. While seated, this mango tree was there. So the mangoes, if you came in the season, you would see many of them. So also them during Mass, some mangoes would fall. So I don't know if people continued paying attention to the Mass or started eating some mangoes. That is left to them who were there in that particular season of time. So later on, when the place was handed over to the Franciscan fathers by the late Archbishop Cyprian Chizitoranga, they built it to what we see today. And when we go up close from this altar, which becomes the Martyrs, Uganda Martyrs Relics Chapel, we have the relics of the different martyrs attached to the martyrs. Number 1, Charles Ranga. Number 2, Matia Mulumba. Number 3, Blessed Gildo Ilwa and Daudi Okelo. They are the relics we have in this chapel. But we also have now, which is now a relic, the chair where the Pope sat when he came in 2015. It's now also a relic of a different class. It is also inside here. So when you come as a group and the church is full, you can always have prayers. We have different altars. Today we had Chisubi Parish. They came as the Ibina Bienko and Katolici, and they had their prayers here, their Mass and all that. So it being the first altar, when they built the basilica, as we can see, it all comes till the tabernacle. It's all in a straight line till the tabernacle of the basilica, from exactly the first place that was here. When we go back to the basilica that was built in the Jubilee year of Mercy, that is 2015-2016, it goes back. Now that basilica is built on 12 pillars, which represent the 12 apostles in the Bible, all tending towards the cross. Because as we journey in life, the end goal is the cross. But how shall we be on that cross? So that basilica is built on those 12 pillars. And inside the basilica, it sits 1,000 people. Today we've come as communicators. I'm sure next time when we come, we shall be bringing big people, big groups of people, very many people to fill the basilica, right? Because it covers 1,000 people inside, and outside it covers 600 people. So that's a total capacity of 1,600 people. But it's still so hard to fill it because we have different Mass programs. Now, like on a Sunday, the first Mass we have is 7 a.m. That is in Uganda, in the Basilica. The next one is 9 a.m., which is in English, in the Basilica. The next one is 10 a.m., which is down here in the chapel, which is Uganda. Then the next one is 11 a.m. and then 12:30 and 6 p.m. So with those different mass programs, you realize people have choice. Eh? So the basilica will never be full because people have choice. The times I've seen it full is like on Divine Mercy Sunday. To the extent that this last Divine Mercy Sunday, we had over 2,000 people. The parking became smaller than usual. Yet it had been extended to meet so many people. But now it became small. It realized there is no space. With the latest addition of over 60 cars down there near the chapel. But it also showed there is no space. But now the basilica was so full, and Father said, this time around, the next Divine Mercy Sunday, we shall have the mass outside because people were so full. So imagine, it takes us Divine Mercy Sunday or maybe the overnight of which is no longer there. So when you go back, maybe you can tell people that the times are there. Then on daily, the masses we have here is 6:15 in the Divine Mercy Chapel early morning. Then we have 7 a.m. in the Basilica and 6 p.m. in the Basilica. That is on a daily. Monday to Friday, just down there. But these ones are daily, Monday to Saturday. 7 a.m. in the morning and 6 p.m. in the evening. We do not have lunchtime mass because it's more of a commercial, a residential place. So we only do morning and evening. People are going back home, people are going to work. Those are the masses we get to. So when we get to the Basilica, on our right hand, as you're facing the Basilica, there is a stone that was placed there by Pope Francis, may his soul rest in peace, coming from the tomb of St. Francis of Assisi. It was placed there, and he also attached an indulgence. I'm told it still exists even if he is dead. Yeah? So attached an indulgence, and that was in commemoration of the jubilee of the martyrs, canonization of the martyrs. That is where that comes from. And also the tomb of St. Francis of Assisi, because this parish is run by Franciscan fathers who follow the spirituality of St. Francis of Assisi. Then when we come to the left, we have the brick that was used by Pope John Paul II, may his soul rest in peace, in the year 2000. That was used, and then which was removed by the late still Pope Francis in 2015 as he was opening the door of mercy. So this commemorates two popes, the brick, and that was placed there by our parish priest. But it comes from the Jubilee of Mercy. Then this place was risen to a basilica in 2019. It was consecrated in 2017. So risen to a basilica in 2019. The Pope visited this place in 2015 in regards to the canon and the history of the martyrs. So that is what the basilica entails. When we get around the basilica as we are going for our prayers, you realize we have all the matters written down alongside the basilica. Just in case you need to know more about them, as you're moving, you will see they are all written. But above all, on the main entrance, we have St. Charles Ranga and Andrew Kagwa. But then we have the two martyrs who are not yet saints. Not on the same line with the other who are saints. These ones are behind here. So we need to still pray for them. That is Blessed Gildo Ilua and Blessed Daudi Okelo. We need to pray for them to also become saints. So we need to do that. Now when we come down, we meet the sculpture of Andrew Kagwa. And then we have this monument of the work of faith to martyrdom. When we look at it, it exactly shows how these martyrs were put together in clusters, in groups, to go to the final place of martyrdom, which was Namugongo. So with them above in front, it is their leader, the head executioner Mukajanga. And then the second one from this side, you can see he's holding a Bible. That is the leader of the Anglican faith, because not only Catholics were taken for martyrdom. That is Mubia Azara, the second. Then the third one, the leader of the Catholic faith, Charles Ranga. Then the last one is the assistant to Mukajanga, all being taken. And that is how they marched. And that is how we also do it here in Munyonyo. Because when you realize, between 26, when the journey began, to the Martyrs' Day itself, there is a 9 days lag time, which is a 9 days novena. Are we seeing that? So we do a novena as Munyonyo Martyrs Shrine every day, 9 days prior to the Martyrs' Day itself. Every day at 5, we have the novena, then a teaching on matters, different matters at a time. Every day for 9 days. And then we end it with Holy Mass at 6 p.m. Every day. We do not just walk into Matters Day. Matters Day is here and we are there. We go back to exactly what happened here. So we do it every day. We are teaching about different matters. And I realize this has helped us to grow the devotion of Uganda Matters. People are now well acquainted, like with the devotion. You realize, me as a pilgrim guide, one thing I've realized, many people come from outside and they know more about the matters, but I do not know about the matters. Many people come from different countries and they are looking for these matters, but as we are going to these countries, and when you reach there, they're asking you, do you know about the Uganda Matters? There is one or two things you can give, but for them, they have a whole set of information. You're seeing that. That is something I've realized in my journey as a pilgrim's guide of this place. And many of us Ugandans do not know the history, or do not know even that this is where it all started. But people who come in from different countries, from different continents, they know all this history. So I pray we can go back and tell other people about it. So we do that and the journey begins and we go. So that we do. Now this year, on the 31st of May, we shall be doing the walk of faith. That unity walk, the walk of faith to Martyrdom. We go visiting the different places, how the matters moved from here, and they now went to the next spot. Maybe Denis Sebugwa or Ponsiano Ngondo. We go in all these different Martyrdom places until the one we got last to is Matia Molomba in Old Kampala. That is where we walk and then we come back because we have to meet the novena day. So we don't go till Namugongo. But I like it because Christians flock here and then they move. And then it feels different than waking up on maybe the day of the Martyrdom itself. And then you're like, that night, like I used to do it from my former parish, we go late in the night and we move and we are targeting Namugongo. I didn't know that Munyonyo was the first spot. But every time from my last parish, we used to move from at night, 9 p.m. we start moving to Namugongo. But now it feels different when we start moving in these places. So that happens here every season of the matters. Then when we continue, we meet the place where we get our holy water from, but where Mother Kevin came in exactly in 1903. And that water comes straight from the tabernacle from the Chapel of Divine Mercy, which I was earlier talking about. When they were building it, they found streams of running water, which were all diverted to the other place. So people can collect water from there. When they ask me if it is holy, and then in this chapel we are always having mass every day, and Jesus is exposed, I don't know what the answer is. So in this chapel we can meet, we can have personal time, and then, yeah, you can go back and tell others. Thank you.